In this video, we will look at how to recognize if there is a proportional relationship between two quantities or if there is a proportionality between two quantities. So we are given this information where we have number of pounds of mangoes and price in dollars. So how do we figure out if there is a proportional relationship between the number of pounds of mangoes and the price in dollars? One way we can do it is by setting up these ratios and simplifying them. So let's try that. If we take the first row, we have 18 over 81. And if we divide both top and bottom by 9, you will get 2 over 9. Now let's look at the next row. Again, if we get 12 over 54, and if you divide it by 6, again you would get 2 over 9. So far so good, but we can't stop here. We have to look at every row to see if it simplifies to 2 over 9. So let's look at the next one. We have 8 over 36, and that would give you, again, if you divide by 4, top and bottom, that should give you 8 divided by 4 is 2 and 36 divided by 4 is 9. Again, pretty good. And then the last one, 14 over 63, if we simplify this by dividing both top and bottom by 7, we will get 2 over 9. And if every row gives you the same ratio or equivalent ratios, you know that there is a proportional relationship between the number of pounds of mangoes and the price in dollars. So I'm going to put a check. Now the other way you could have done this is once you have simplified one of them, you know that in the simplest form it's 2/9. So I could write the 2/9 here and then see what does it take to go from 2 to 12. I have to multiply by 6. And I am going to check if I multiply 9 by 6 if I get 54, and that's correct. Then to go from 2 to 8, I have to multiply by 4. And to go from 9 to 36, also I multiply by 4. So far so good. And to go from 2 to 14, you multiply by 7. And the same here. So you can use this technique too. That is to simplify one row and then see if I can go from that simplest form to all the other rows by multiplying by the same number on both sides. Let's now look at another problem. So here we have a different kind of problem. We are given a table where we have a bunch of ratios and we are asked to figure out which of these pairs are in the same proportion as these pairs in here. Now they don't say this is a proportional relationship, but if you simplify each of these ratios, you'll see that you get 5 to 3. Each of these will simplify to 5 to 3. Now how do we figure out which of these options are in the same proportion as these pairs? So let's start with writing down this ratio. So we have base in inches over height in inches, and we know that in the simplest form the ratio needs to be 5 over 3. So let's take each of these options and see what is the ratio in the simplest form. So let's take A. We have a base of 55 over a height of 30, and if we divide both top and bottom by 5, you will get 11 over 6. And obviously that's not an option because it's not the same as 5 over 3. Let's look at B now. So in B we have a base of 21 and a height of 35. Now we don't even need to simplify this one because you can see in this table that the base is always more than the height, and that will always be so. And so B is not an option at all. Now let's look at C. So in C, we have 45 as the base and 27 as the height. And if we simplify each of these by dividing by 9, you will get 45 divided by 9 is 5 and 27 divided by 9 is 3. So this definitely is in the same proportion as these pairs. And now let's look at D. In D, if we have 105 over 63, I don't know, I think 3 goes into both of these. If you knew your divisibility test for 3, you can add up the digits. So 1 plus 5 is 6 and 3 goes into 6. So if you want to know more about the divisibility test, you can look up the videos on divisibility test. So I know 3 goes into 105. So 105 divided by 3 is 3 goes into 10 3 times with a remainder of 1. 3 goes into 15 5 times. So we have 35, and then 3 goes into 63 21 times. And we can simplify that to, okay, if I divide both top and bottom by 7, then I get 5 over 3. I went from here to here by dividing by 3. Yeah, just to be complete. Now another way you could have figured out that D is an option is, for some reason, if you knew that 15 goes into 105 7 times, then you can check, if I multiply 9 by 7, what do I get? And by 7, and I do get 63. So that means that D is definitely an option. Now another way you can do these problems is, if you had a handy dandy calculator, you could just divide base by height for each of these. Just divide base by height, base by height, base by height, and divide 5 by 3 and see if it comes to the same answer as when you divide 5 by 3. And if it's the same number as 5 divided by 3, you know that it is in the same proportion as each of these pairs.